first is Italy Veneziano. His name is Feliciano Vargas. Vargas is actually a Spanish surname, but it comes from Alberto Vargas, which was an Italian artist. Feliciano is more common as a surname than a first name, but maybe Himaruya is still confused on how Western order works, because we see this in a lot of characters. His first name appears to come from Felice Feliciano, who was an Italian calligrapher. Next is Germany. Germany's name is Ludwig. Just Ludwig. That's it. No last name. His last name was not Beilschmidt. That is Prussia's last name. He was never given a canon last name. Himaruya said this was for a reason, but we still don't know that reason since Himaruya discontinued the human names thing. But just to let you know, the founder of the Holy Roman Empire was also named Ludwig with no last name. And there are many famous Ludwigs in German history, so this is an understandable name. Next character is Japan. His name is Kikuhanda. A rather understandable name, and it would make sense that this name is accurate since Himaruya is Japanese. His name means chrysanthemum. Now let's move on to England. His name is Arthur Kirkland. There have been many famous Arthurs from England, such as King Arthur from the stories, Sir Arthur, Arthur King of the Britons, and I have met British Kirklands before, so I know that last name is accurate. Next we have France. France's name is Francis Bonnefoy. No, it is not Bonnefoy. F-O-Y is another spelling for F-O-I, creating the wa sound. An alternative for his name could be Francois Bonnefoy, but I think that's a little too much wa. America. America's name is Alfred F. Jones. Himaruya states that the F stands for Franklin, Foster, or Fuck. It is unconfirmed which. There were many famous Alfreds and many famous Joneses in American history, so I say this is pretty accurate. There is a lot of debate over where the name comes from, though. Some say it comes from the USS Alfred, the first ship to fly the Grand Union flag, and the captain of said ship was John Paul Jones. Some say it comes from Alfred E. Newman or Alfred Hitchcock, and that the F is from John F. Kennedy, a popular American president. Next we have Russia. Russia's name is Ivan Braginsky. This name is mispronounced as Ivan so many times. No, it's Ivan. Ivan Braginsky. Also, you need to spell it with a Y at the end. If you spell it with an I, then Russia becomes Polish. So I suggest putting a Y instead of the I at the end. He is probably named after Emil Braginsky, a Russian screenwriter. Another note is that Vanya can be used as a nickname, for it is often used in Russia. China. China's name is Yao Wang. No, it is not Wang. You dirty, dirty perverts. The Eastern order would be Wang Yao. Austria's name is Roderich Edelstein. I have never met a Roderich in my life, but it may have come from Roderich Moisisowitz von Moiswa. Edelstein is commonly found among Jewish families in Austria, thus growing my theory that Austria is Jewish. Next we have Belarus. Belarus's name is Natalia Arlovskaya. It is said that the last name comes from Andrei Arlovsky. And then we have Canada. Canada's name is Matthew Williams. There are many speculations to the name, however. Himaruya says that, quote, Canadians have a Matthew image. His last name was originally going to be Jones, but instead Hima said he wanted to give him a different last name than America, so he went with Williams. Next character we have is Egypt. Egypt's name is Gupta Muhammad Hassan. Why? This is just really frustrating. Gupta is an Indian name. There is no P in the Arabic language. If you just left out Gupta, you would have a normal, average Egyptian name because there are many Egyptians named Muhammad Hassan. But Egypt can't pronounce his own name, Hima. But then I wondered, nations are old as dirt, right? Maybe it was a name there before the Arab conquest. Maybe it was in ancient Egypt. I looked, and nothing. Nothing. Hima is just an idiot here. I think I'm just going to call him Mohammed Hassan because Egypt is forgotten about enough as it is. He deserves an accurate name. I think India deserves a name. Let's give him the Gupta part, and then Egypt can keep the rest. Next we have Estonia. Estonia's name is Edward von Bach. Von Bach is a German last name. I have no idea where it came from. Next we have Finland. Finland's name is Tino Vainamoinen. I hope that was correct because many Finnish fans have been jumping down my throat about this. Tino is rarely used in Finland, but many use Timo instead. Or it could be because of Danish influence since Tino is uncommonly found in Denmark. But his last name is a character from Finnish mythology, so I can understand where his last name came from. Next we have Greece. Greece's name is Heracles Karpousis, or Iraklis Karpousis. The first name is named after a figure in Greek mythology, which totally makes sense that ancient Greece would name her son that. Karpousi is not a real Greek last name. It is the Greek word for watermelon. However, a couple of fans have told me that if you add an S to the end, it can be a surname. Next we have Hungary. Hungary's name is Erzsébet Hídavári. There is a name dispute in the fandom about this, a very big one to be exact. Many people say it's Elisabetta, Elisaveta, Elizabeth, Elizabeth, or Erzsébet. They are all possible spellings, but recent findings from my Hungarian followers have told me that the most accurate name is Erzsébet. And Hungary uses Eastern Order, so it would be Hídavári Erzsébet. This is probably a reference to Sissi, or Queen Elizabeth of Bavaria, wife of Franz Joseph I. And in Hungarian, her name translates to Erzsébet, making it the most accurate rendering of her name. Next we have Latvia. Latvia's name is Raivis Galante. Raivis is a form of Raymond. Galante is actually an Italian surname. However, this last name comes from Latvian opera singer Inês Galante, so I can understand where Hima got this from. Liechtenstein's name is Erika Vogel. Lily Zwingli is often mistaken and used in fanworks, but she has her own last name. While it's not technically official, all of the other suggested first names that Hima put out were eventually removed. So that left Erika Vogel. This kind of proves that siblings don't have the same last name unless they are in the same country. Lithuania. Lithuania's name is Tolis Laurinaitis. No, it is not Taurus. This is probably the most disputed Romanji mistranslation in the fandom. Since the L is non-existent in the Japanese language, many think his name is Taurus. Taurus isn't a real name anywhere in Lithuania. It's used more of a dog name. But Tolis, however, is a real uncommon Lithuanian name. It's rarely used though, but remember, nations are really old, so it could have been really popular back then. I believe that this was just lost in translation. Kind of like Erzsébet. While Tolis isn't very popular in modern times, It could be short for Tolmintas, Tolviras, or Tolvasius. Poland. Poland's name is Felix Łukasiewicz. He is named after Jan or Ignacy Łukasiewicz, surprisingly a philosopher and a scientist respectively. While Felix is a rather outdated name, remember, nations are really old. Now we have Prussia. Prussia's name is Gilbert Beilschmidt. In German, when two vowels are next to each other, the second vowel is pronounced, like you see in my last name. So, it's not Beilschmidt, it's Beilschmidt, translating to axesmith. Some say his last name comes from Rolf Beilschmidt, an East German Olympist. Is Italy Romano. Romano's name is Lovino Vargas. Lovino is not an Italian first name. It is a very rare last name, but Romano is actually a very common first name in Italy. I don't know where Lovino came from. Maybe it's just Hema confusing last names for first names again. In Italian, it simply translates to the wine. However, it may be a masculinized form of Lavina, which comes from the name Lavinia, which was the legendary mother of the Roman people. Next we have Sealand. Sealand's name is Peter Kirkland. Both Romano and Sealand prove that members of the same country have the same last name, meaning that Wye and Hutt River share Australia's last name, and all of the micronations share the last name of the nation that they live in. Peter literally means rock, which fits Sealand well. Or it could be a reference to Peter Pan, a British fairy tale about a young boy who never grows up. South Korea. Korea's name is Jong-soo Im. When addressing him on a first name basis, you would use Yong-soo, or the Eastern order would be Im Yong-soo. His name means brave and great in Korean. Next we have Spain. Spain's name is Antonio Fernandez Carriedo. Sweden's name is Berwald Oxenstierna. I grew up saying Oxenstierna, but apparently, according to Wikipedia, it is Oxenstierna. He is named after one of the high families in Sweden, or named after Axel Oxenstierna. Berwald isn't a very common name today, but remember, nations are old as dirt. Next we have Switzerland. Switzerland's name is Bosch Zwingli. Many people use Vash, some people use Bosch, but if you ask me, Bosch has more historical significance and is more accurate since Bosch is often short for Sebastian. Either is acceptable, but I suggest using Bosch. Zwingli comes from Ulrich Zwingli. Turkey. Turkey's name is Sadik Adnan. When spelling his name, never use the English I, always use the special I as seen here. Sadik is actually a Turkish surname rather than a first name, and Adnan is a first name. However, Sadik may come from Sadik Yemni, a Turkish-born Dutch author.